Hello, team. Welcome back to another Line War cast. We have another team game from the Line War beta for team games, which is 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4, including free for all. We haven't casted one of those yet. Two teams today on Alpha Team: Deedland, Romad, and Keaton, versus on Bravo Team, Mr. Murray 68. Someone said that my nickname sucks, and Super Crumpets. So Super Crumpets and Murray on Bravo Team are spawning here in the bottom of the map. We can see where nickname is in pink is right here. So Bravo Team is right in the center of the map, essentially. Romad, Quantum Scientist on Alpha Team to the far right, and then Deedland and Keaton, the other two players on Alpha Team that have spawned on the left side of the map. So Keaton's going to get the entire left side all to themselves. Deedland is going to probably get into a little bit of a fight here with Nickname, who's gone for 4 factories right in the center, which is a very good call. I wonder if Nickname suspects that these are the spots that Alpha Team would go. We saw from the picking phase earlier that you can actually see the zones of interest for the opposite team, so it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea what you're going to get yourself into. Potentially that's why Nickname opened up that way. 2 docks, 2 factories, and a barracks for Romad on the right side, who will likely be trying to get across to this land mass to open up a trade route, potentially, like Romad sitting on this. A town and 2 sub-pens for Deedland, mostly, with another barracks, and 2 factories for Alpha Team, or two docks, pardon me, for Keaton on Alpha Team, which will directly compete with the 2 docks of Murray here. It's with all the boats coming into play here, gas is going to be something that both teams will have to worry about a little bit. This will probably be an important oil well. We'll see how it develops. Crumpets is going for a quick port, which is like the best economic building you can really go for. It's got a great return on how much money it actually costs, and already building. I think this is a depot, so the plan would be you can share gas with your teammates in team games. And so between Murray and then Crumpets here with all these different gases, I assume hooking up the refineries to the depot is going to be the play. Because on a Navy map, the last thing you want is for your Navy to run out of gas, which can happen because it's such an expensive energy unit composition. Nickname's digging in. This makes a lot of sense. Nickname's not going to have the momentum to kind of push through this. It would have to go through Deedland's base, which is backed up by Keaton. So it's a great call to dig in there. 2 subs out for Deedland with more on the way. Both Alpha and Bravo team are going to fight over this right-hand side. Romad's here first, but here comes Murray's transport ship, and then Crumpets also has the plan. So it'll be a 2v1 situation. We'll see if Romad can hold on there. Town is almost done for Deedland. You can share economy with your allies as long as you share bordering zones. So in this case, Keaton and Deedland could be sharing with each other. And here it goes. So there is the 2 refineries. Murray's refinery is hooked up to Crumpets refinery, which is then hooked up in turn to Crumpets depot to start generating a lot of gas for Bravo team. Fight in the mountains, which really matters. I mean, Nickname's going to have to hold on here and make sure that Alpha Team doesn't get this trade route up. But it's a very strong position because it does deny like this entire trade route for Alpha Team. And potentially Nickname can make it so Alpha Team really trades poorly on both like the right-hand side and the left-hand side here, especially if this gets dug in. These units are digging in under fire. I'm not sure if they're going to have time. Deedland's going to try to rush the defensive positions before they're like the units are fully dug in, before they get the huge defensive bonus. And here comes our first naval fight between Murray and Keaton. 3 missile boats against 2 missile boats and a cruiser. Keaton's actually backing up, waiting for these subs. This is the coordination between the 2 teams. I assume once the subs get here, the boats will actually fight, and that is exactly what's happening. So with the 2 submarines, Alpha Team is going to be able to clean this up and potentially threaten Murray's docks here. There's no real units that Bravo Team has that can defend the docks if that were to turn into a huge naval advantage for Alpha Team. This was a good dig in. It repels Alpha Team from Nickname's left flank. The right flank is looking a little bit scary because of these 3 artillery pieces, which is quite a bit. Nickname doesn't really have an answer for that. And Murray backs up. Very smart move to back up, because this is beginning to be quite the Navy. Dealin's with these roaming subs, which is actually huge, because it cuts off any potential landing from Bravo Team to reinforce Nickname's position. And with 3 artillery pieces and this much infantry, Nickname's going to be able to mount a defense, but the left side of the map is also somewhere that Nickname has to pay attention to. Otherwise, they'll lose on that front. Both teams are going for it here. Alpha Team with the subs against the 3 boats of Murray. I don't even think any of those subs are from Bravo Team, so Alpha Team is going to be able to push here, I think. No, I'm totally wrong. It's right here. Jeez. This sub is Murray's sub, so it's... Bravo Team is actually going to be able to defend here. More subs on the way. Dealing did open with 2 submarine pens, so I mean the sub production is going to be pretty quick here. And Romed has a little bit of a navy going. Need to keep in mind what's going on here, because this is going to be a huge battleground for both teams on the right hand side. Crumpets is reinforcing it, and Keaton is starting to try to land on Team Bravo's kind of main base. There's already 4 infantry here. There's 2 more artillery pieces for Murray on the way, which if this is all just infantry, this might get stuffed. Murray might be able to use the boats to try to at least stop these transport boats from doing another run, but at the exact same time, Deedlin and Keaton are going to try to fight this navy. I mean, this navy kind of pins Murray's navy not move too far away from the docks, or else these boats can just jump on it. The transport boats get out. I don't think Keaton's ground forces have enough to land here. And with the huge navy fight, we gotta zoom out just to make sure. Nickname's still dug in the north here and preparing to dig in against Romed's push through the mountains. It's a whole bunch of subs. 4 subs for Alpha Team against the single sub of Murray's. But Murray now has the boat advantage. Very close, but that looks good for Alpha Team. On the right-hand side of the map, Crumpet's reinforcements starting to outnumber what Romad has. Romad's no longer sending units across because Romad's opening up this front and starting to fight in earnest here. Nickname's clearly wanting to take the trade route, and this is why the dig-in around the town is such a good one. Because Nickname is starting to make a bet that this can definitely fall. More invasion forces, I guess with reinforcements, maybe Keaton's going to be able to jump on these artillery pieces now. And Alpha Team is going to be able to take out Murray's docks. This was always a very precarious situation for Bravo Team. And this will suck because it definitely allows Keaton to continue reinforcing this. And I mean, this is a great airport, I think, from Crumpets, because it'll be able to help Murray defend this drop, which could become a huge problem. The 4 factories and the 1 barracks of Nickname are enough units that they're going to be able to push through this mountain. Romad's only on 2 factories and 1 barracks. So production-wise, Red is in a lot of trouble here, especially as Crumpets opens up a second front, because Crumpets has now secured that right-hand side of the map. So that's a tough, that's a tough position for Alpha Team to lose the right-hand side. This is good for Alpha Team to gain possession of the left-hand side, which technically has more land and territories on it, more economy. I think this is a combination of Murray and Crumpets that are both capping, going to the left to get into a fight with Keaton at some point. And Nickname continues to hold on here. It's a decent push with a decent number of infantry, but I'm not actually sure if Deedlin's gonna be able to overrun this position. I think there might be just enough units in this defensive line because of the bonus that the artillery and SAMs get to the range and also their health while being in this defensive line. But that means, I mean, it might just be enough. And with the 4 artillery pieces showing up, potentially going to have a breakthrough for Alpha Team on the left flank of Nickname, who might need to start diverting some units over here. And as I say this, great drop by Keaton to open up a 3rd front against Nickname. Keaton got stuffed here. It makes a lot of sense to divert the units to try to pick on Nickname, who is in one of the tougher spots. Roman's built up quite a navy now and can start shutting down this transport route, and then also maybe even Crumpet's navy. Crumpet's definitely has controls the right-hand side of the map at this point. 1 factory down for Nickname. I think that's all that will be lost. But the scarier thing for Bravo Team, pardon me, is now that Alpha Team is about to break through this left flank of Nickname. Let's see what's going on at home. Crumpet's has a quick city and going for another airport on the left-hand side. That's huge because it's going to be able to support Bravo Team's attempt to control the left-hand side that Keaton is now firmly on. It's a lot of economy on the left-hand side, so that does matter. Roman has quite a navy, but it's out of gas. Whenever we see the black plumes of smoke, it means the navy's out of gas, and if it were to be attacked, they would take more damage for 5 seconds. All of Alpha Team's boats are out of gas at this point. I'm not sure if there's any or energy sharing going on. There's 3 refineries now for Alpha Team. Bromad has one over here, but unfortunately Bromad can't share any gas with their allies because there's no pipeline connection. So Bromad's kind of isolated right now, and this is a tough spot to be in with a navy like this with only 1 gas. Crumpus is going for this town because the trade route with a port here, it would be able to trade with this port, make a bunch of money. Huge fight. If Nickname can clean up red with the help of Crumpet's navy, I mean, Crumpets doesn't have the navy to deal with both Keaton and Romad. I don't think Romad's boats can still move. As the navies get closer to the shore, the helicopters are going to be able to help out a lot. Murray's also got an airport on the way as well. So that's going to be a lot of coastal defense for Bravo Team. Blue's broken through on the left-hand side. Nickname's now retreated a little bit. This is a lot of artillery. It's going to be able to destroy all of this infantry and the SAMs. 1 helicopter for Bravo Team goes down. And this is great for Alpha Team, for Romad to be able to take out this town and stop that trade route from setting up. I think in general it's just delaying the inevitable though, because Romad's going to have a tough time defending this just based on how many units Nickname has over here. Crumpets has 5 docks at this point. Great pickup from Keaton to start attacking this airport because 1 missile boat will be able to destroy this airport over time. And we can see the damage on the left-hand side. Alpha Team has, I mean, Keaton has nearly all of this. And I think with the 2 factories and 2 barracks, Keaton's going to be able to start launching like a counter-offensive to get to start pushing through this defended position. Deedlin's subs are taking out Murray's sub pen. That's a big pick. Naval supremacy is going to be really important for this game, because over time it's going to make it so that Nickname's even more isolated. I wonder if there could be an airport for Alpha Team, because Nickname hasn't been able to build any SAMs. I mean, there's 2 of them, but it's not like Nickname can afford to just keep building SAMs when they're involved in such a huge ground attack at the moment. If you stop building artillery, you might just lose the artillery blob. It's a tough position to be in. Crumpets has 2 cruisers here to try to defend the town. I'm not sure if the missile boats are going to be able to take this town out before the cruisers finish them off. I think the cruisers can probably defend this with the help of the infantry. I'm not going to zoom out to care about what's going on the rest of the map, because this is the most important thing we're going to focus on. Roman's now targeting the town with all the boats. I think with all of these boats, they might just be able to beeline past the cruisers In fact, they kill one of the cruisers, and now at this point, I guess we'll just destroy the town. And there it goes. Romad's doing the right thing, I think, which is digging in here. There's no way that Romad can take this fight against all this artillery. I think buying time is good while Blue and Keaton start pushing through here. With the combined army of Keaton and Deedland, they should be able to push through Nickname's defenses. You would expect. I believe this is a rocket for someone on Bravo team. And if this becomes enough of like a choke point, and Bravo team can set it up so there's a huge Alpha team army here, this could be a very good defensive rocket. This is going to be a tough battle for Alpha Team to get through, but I think ultimately they will be able to just force their way through that defensive line. We can check out the situation here. Romad's taken out this town, still only on 1 gas. I can't imagine Romad's having an easy time moving all these boats. Has to be very intentional about the way that the boats are being moved, because every time that they are, it's just such a huge amount of money. See the amount of damage that all these helicopters have going, but there are SAMs on the way for Keaton, so once Keaton gets a whole like flower or so of SAMs, it's gonna be tough pickings for the helicopters. Well, this is a huge moment in the game for the Navy, because these 5 docks of Crumpets, I mean, it's crazy how many boats these could produce, and the size of Navy that Crumpets could get to. But if Alpha Team, since there's all 3 players over here at this point, if they take the fight at once and then they can push up and destroy the town and destroy the docks, that would be a huge win. By this point, Murray and Crumpets have however many helicopters this is buzzing around. First 2 SAMs are out for Keaton, 2 more SAMs on the way. And that'll just be the important part, whether these SAMs can group up in high enough numbers, and when they do that, and whether they can clean up all these helicopters. Helicopters can't really fight SAMs all that well, which makes sense. Nickname going for an airport at this point, which I do kind of like. I wonder, in a game like this, I guess there's no way for Nickname to really share economy with the allies, because there's no way that Nickname's ever going to have bordering territory unless one of the Bravo team folks land on this top landmass and then cap something. 4 subs, gonna try to kind of backdoor this Navy, potentially, and just go for one of the docks. And look at this spread. Keaton's boat's on the way. This is not good. Crumpets might jump on this. It's a huge amount of cruisers, and that's exactly what Crumpets is going to do. Like we said, if once the black plumes of smoke show up, these boats are taking way more damage over 5 seconds. I don't know the exact modifier, but it is noticeable. And unfortunately for Romad, this Navy's getting stuck. It's a great use of the subs by Deedland in the back. But I think, yeah, Keaton's going to back up, because there's no way this fight is going to be won. That's just a huge cleanup. Here comes the counter push from Bravo team, which I guess makes sense. You want to jump on this before it gets going, like at its production, because over time it's going to be a lot of artillery and SAM that shows up for Orange. And that's going to be tough to defend this position without putting down more production. I guess like Murray has a decent amount of production. Maybe Murray could reinforce those lines. I'm not really sure. Keaton is still trying to land here. I like that play. Over time, Murray's going to either, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the game. Maybe forget about keeping some artillery pieces here, or potentially even just get overrun relatively soon if Keaton keeps reinforcing that. Crumpets went for the town again, and it's going to get destroyed again, I believe. Holy cow, look at this super sneaky sub action. There's a destroyer out, so luckily Romad can actually see these 2 subs that otherwise I think would have just sniped that refinery and further handicapped Romad's attempt to get a Navy out. Transport plane for these commandos from Murray. I wonder where they're going to go. Potentially I have no idea. They could go in a lot of different places, actually. They could go to the left, they could drop on the right, they could drop on Romad's base. The range of this airport would actually be very central. I think over time Keaton's going to be able to do this. Even though Bravo team's making a good push. I think just with 4 barracks, or sorry, 3 factories and three barracks, it's going to be a lot of production that Keaton is getting up. A lot of army value that will be built. Keaton's now successfully landed here, so it kind of makes the problem even worse because Murray has to push a bunch of units to the coast to continue to defend. And at this point, Romad's cleared out the entire army that Nickname had at the base of the mountains. And this is what needs to happen. I think Deedland is going to start pushing, and Romad will probably start pushing at the same time. Is probably what's going to happen to try to get rid of Nickname, who's got 1 helicopter, probably a 2nd helicopter on the way. It's a great landing force. It's a good unit composition from Keaton. There's no planes yet. The helicopters could probably help out. And this is what they're about to do, I assume, because there's no SAMs with it. But it's a good number of infantry and a good number of artillery to slowly push this. And Murray's units are running in kind of one at a time, whereas in general, I mean, all the artillery for Keaton are kind of firing. Good pick from Keaton to find that rocket. That's very important. If this rocket were to get shot at like these 3 factories, that would be very good value for Alpha Team, or Bravo Team, pardon me. This is kind of scary with the number of units that Keaton is reinforcing with. And it's a good stream of units. It's not really going to dry up. Those 4 transport boats, or whatever amount it was, are going to be able to continue delivering units. Crumpets is probably gearing up to start attacking this, because Crumpets has a pretty serious navy. This is a lot of cruisers, and cruisers are the best boats you can have in boat versus boat action. I'm not really sure what both teams' economy would be like, but we can actually see that Deedland is starting to lose money, so that's not great for Alpha Team. But what is great for Alpha Team is that this push is about to start in earnest. And Keaton cleaned up these straggling units of, I think it was Murray and Crumpets that were both over here. So that entire left-hand side is now Keaton's, but if this is right, so this rocket pad ended up living. So the rocket is potentially going to get launched at any time. It can really be used as the defensive rocket for this landing that Keaton's doing right now. Or, I mean, I guess another defensive situation, but that one that more focuses to destroy production rather than a landing force. I think now that all these production facilities for Murray have shifted, they're going to be able to clean up that landing. Here comes Crumpets with the Navy move. It's whatever this is, like, you know, like 10 cruisers or something against 3 cruisers for Alpha Team. The great thing is that Romad does have a lot of artillery, so the cruisers can't necessarily just start attacking the docks because they might get hit by the artillery, but the gas is certainly exposed. And this is, like, it's great moving to get a concave going for Crumpets here. And this is going to be a cleanup. I think Crumpets is going to be able to kill the refinery. Ferrying some units over to try to get a landing. This is a good split. And Romad's in a lot of trouble. This second front needs to open up right now, and that's exactly what Steedlin is doing. But it's so many artillery pieces. 5 SAMs is a very good number as well. I mean, if there's overwhelming air pressure, then 5 SAMs wouldn't be enough. But in the current situation, it's pretty decent. There's a rocket on the way for one of Alpha Team's players, which will be great for destroying this deadlock. Romad just has to hope that it's in time. There's enough cruisers that the artillery that's firing at the cruisers, it doesn't even matter. And with Nickname's reinforcements, I think Romad is about to get knocked out of this game, being in the far right and separated from their team. Left-hand side, this is now a huge question. If Keaton has a good breakthrough here, This could put a lot of pressure on the Alpha team, or pardon me, on the Bravo team, but this rocket still exists, and so do this many helicopters. There's only 3 SAMs. There's 3 at home. I mean, those 3 SAMs can't really move because they need to defend the production at home. So it's a tough spot for Keaton. Slowly, this push, I think, is going to work. It's going to be very ugly and not trade at all efficiently because the artillery and defensive lines really have an advantage here. And there goes Romad. I think unless Romad built a barrack somewhere or some sort of unit, Romad is out of this game. And Crumpets is going to start landing on the right-hand side. And this is what it allows for, is that Nickname can now start diverting all the units back to the left-hand side. Okay, so this rocket definitely went off and I missed it, so, you know, classic. A lot of stuff going on in this game. This is horrible news for Alpha Team because now Bravo can start pushing back again, and there probably will be another rocket on the way, which this time can be used on Keaton's production. Huge blob of artillery. And, I mean, maybe this isn't gonna work. This one helicopter for Nickname, if there was any gas that Nickname had, it could be doing a lot of damage because there's no SAMs for blue as of yet. So the bottom left is an open question, but Keaton definitely needs to win it now that the top right has been taken entirely from Bravo team, because Crumpets is going to be able to start building up that trade route again. There's this trade route which could connect to it, and then as long as Nickname doesn't lose this position entirely, it's looking very good for Bravo team. Maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe this much artillery and the few infantry that have been able to body block for a little bit, it's buying such an insane amount of time. It's a good blockade from Deedlin with just enough helicopters, or just enough missile boats. If all these helicopters launch at the same time, they could take on 3 missile boats, though. That is certainly the truth. That I wonder almost if it would be better for blue to just try to retreat move through this line. I don't know if it would even do anything, but this has to be frustrating for Alpha Team and how long this has taken. This is why Keaton's going to try to go for the reach around here, which is a great idea. We'll see if 3 missile boats is enough to take on this many helicopters and a whole navy of about 3,500 cruisers. And the answer is absolutely not. Keaton's going to back up. This many helicopters against this many missile boats. It's just a question of how quickly the helicopters can kill this many boats. More missile boats for Keaton are on the way, but you can just see that the helicopters, and they just hover over the targets, they do so much damage. Bravo Team's Navy is going to move in. And now these 2 helicopters are finally hovering over the artillery. This is going to do a ton of damage. Great landing from Keaton. Maybe this can do something, but it's just a matter of time as long as Crumpets keeps these boats fueled. And on this many power plants, Bravo Team has the gas, so Crumpets isn't going to lose any of these boats, and they're just going to be able to keep pushing forward. This rocket is important. If in the best case, it's going to allow Deedlin to push through and destroy Nickname before this game ends. That is about as good of a rocket in the situation as I think you could hope for. It kills most of the army and the defensive lines and pretty much all of Nickname's production. But it's such a huge navy. Alpha Team has to hope that they can push like all the way to the right side of the map very quickly. You can see the ports for Bravo Team are going up. This would be way more income for Bravo. This is actually really cool defensive line. units kind of derp through. You can see this artillery piece. Like, they have to go so slowly, and then these units have to move out of the defensive line to allow the artillery to pass. So by kind of having a little open middle here, it makes it so the artillery actually gets to the front quicker. It's a lot of artillery for Keaton, but this is what I was about to say, is once this rocket is up, as long as this is targeted fine, which it looks like it is, because it's gonna, I think, destroy all of the artillery, except for one of the pieces. And now Bravo can get out of the defensive lines potentially and just start pushing again. And over time, Keaton's not going to be able to handle that, I don't think. Just because all the land units that Bravo has, they can push to the bottom left at this point. Alright, well, Nickname is almost out of the game besides this town and this barracks. There's still 2 helicopters for Nickname. This many cruisers is such a problem for Alpha Team. I mean, how do you even get rid of that besides getting a rocket? The rocket is 2/3 of the way done for Alpha Team in the top left. This is a great idea from Keaton to try to land here and destroy this rocket because it's just getting so much value. It's in a really good spot, though. Cruiser's doing the best job to just delay all these land units. And now that Bravo Team's got helicopters across, I think this is definitely, yeah, done for Alpha Team. Well played, both teams. Super cool. Folks, that is another beta game in the patch, beta team game for Line War development build. It's on its way. Super hype. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you around. Have a great night, day, evening, whatever it is. Thank you so much for the support. Peace.